Today is Saturday, 25th of May. We're going to see how things are shaping up more long term across the UK. This is the current satellite picture for the UK. Many parts in glorious sunshine, stretching all the way from Scotland through towards parts of northern England. Just a few scattered clouds through Wales and parts of central southern England, southwest England too. And this more general cloud and light rain coming into western parts of Scotland and also western Northern Ireland and much of Ireland too. Today we're going to see how things are shaping up more long term across the British Isles, especially focusing on the early part of June and through towards the end of May. This is a GFS ensemble chart for temperature and also rainfall temperatures running along here, and the rainfall is running along here too. Just notice that we're currently in these dry conditions, but rainfall starts to pick up through next week before bouncing around through next week, indicating these more settled conditions coming through into next week. And temperatures rising slightly through this weekend, then dropping back off through towards next week, before then starting to rise back up through towards the next week and into towards the early part of June as well. But there is a lot of uncertainty in this rising temperature, and this show you that uncertainty. This is the 8 to 10 day mean. On the left we've got the ECMWF, and on the right we've got the GFS, and these are going through towards 500 millibar, which is 18,000 feet, and that is jet stream level. The reds and the oranges indicate higher pressure, and the blues are indicated by low pressure, and they're indicated by this trough here. For example, one there, and for example, one there as well. And on the ECMW, I've got this trough here, this jet stream coming through the eastern seaboard, which is building this ridge here across western parts of the Atlantic, bringing better conditions from many parts of the country. By contrast, the GFS brings the jet stream through the eastern seaboard and right through the UK, bringing more unsettled conditions too. But what's interesting from the GFS is that we've got these more settled conditions across the south of the country with the oranges here. So there is a lot of uncertainty to go through towards the 8 to 10 day period. By the way, this is through towards the 5th and also towards the 3rd to 5th of June. And it looks like high pressure will start to resume, but how and exactly where that high pressure sets up is still up to debate. It looks like we'll start to see high pressure start to resume from the west, always these western parts of the country, seeing the best of weather from the early part of June. This is the current situation from the ECMWF for today. Low pressure centred out towards the eastern parts of the country, and high pressure just started to come into the western parts of the country to bring in these more settled conditions. And then by next Tuesday, low pressure set itself up across northern and western parts of the country. Everyone's in the more settled flow. Best weather through towards the eastern coast of the country. Many areas are unsettled conditions, showery with often cool weather as well. And that started from Monday generally, with northwestern parts will see an awful day on Monday. And that's spreading through many parts of the country by Tuesday and also into Wednesday. And then by next Thursday, instead low pressures come back out towards parts of Europe. High pressure starting to reach back in then across northern and western parts of the country. So the better weather starting to build back in through towards next Thursday. And then by through towards next weekend into the week after next, this is through towards the 2nd of June. And as the high pressure is built in proper across many parts of the country, dry settled conditions stretching right through from the Azores through towards Scandinavia. Some very settled conditions with this warm too, temperatures in the high to mid-20s, are very excellent conditions across many parts of the country, through towards next weekend and through towards the following week starting the 3rd of June. And then by Tuesday, the 4th of June, high pressure has got itself set up across to the north of the UK. Low pressure just started to come back in into the North Sea, very interestingly, across its eastern parts of the country, building in this idea of the breakdown possible through towards the early part of June. But again, it's very uncertain as to where things may go. The ECMWF is really going for this idea of high pressure starting to come back in through towards Thursday and Friday, after the more settled Tuesday, Monday, and also Wednesday. And then through towards next week, it wants to make things much warmer, with temperatures building back through up. Just comparing that to the GFS ensemble, this is actually an ensemble from the GFS, and this is going through towards Monday, the 3rd of June, high pressure starting to reach back into the west of the idea. Again, these western areas seeing the best weather through towards the early part of June, through towards next Monday, the 3rd, and low pressure then set out towards western parts of Europe, bringing these more settled conditions here. And then by the 7th of June, well, high pressure is still there across western parts of the country. Always this trough here across southern parts, eastern parts too. And it's these western areas see the best of any weather, with temperatures probably here in the low 20s in places. Just looking at how other models verify this is the GEM, the Canadian model. This is going through towards through to Friday the 31st of May. Notice that currently in these cool conditions, currently in a building temperature through this weekend, temperatures starting to build up before dropping temperatures back up through towards middle part next week. Remember, those more settled conditions coming back in, and then trying to rise them up through towards the end this week. It's actually quite a sensible chart with temperatures starting to build back up through towards the end of next week, with high pressure starting to come back into the country. Looking at the CFS, the GFS long-term model, if you like, well, this is very, just before we start on the GFS, it's a very difficult model to work with. It's soft, it's very, switches from warm to cold a lot, so it's not a very, supporting more of the other more significant models, it goes off and it goes on, so it's not a very reliable model. And currently this warming trend through this week, and we'll start to warm temperatures back up. The GFS was correct through the early part of June, just indicating that the CFS is again supporting this idea of temperatures rising back up towards the early part of June. So as I say, it is very uncertain. Lots of the temperatures will start to rise back up through towards the early part of June with this steady temperature, but the other models are not so supportive. So, for example, the GFS operations are not supportive of it, but the other models like the ECMWF, the GM, and the CFS are going through towards this idea of high pressure starting to reach back in through towards the west of the country, especially from Thursday the 30th through towards Friday the 31st into next weekend. Temperatures starting to build back in and high pressure built in proper through towards next week with temperatures are starting to rise. But it is very uncertain, so do keep coming back and checking the forecast as well. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to go through to castingweatherwatcher.com to get all your forecasts there, and you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, a lot as well. So thanks very much for tuning in, and see you later.